Today we're making chili, and it's out of the Eat, Shrink, and Be Merry recipe book, and it's literally the best chili ever. It doesn't taste like a bunch of cans opened up and thrown in a pot. It just tastes so fresh because of all the fresh ingredients. It's called Ladle in Red. I always write right inside my recipe books so that people know what turned out well and what didn't. So for this recipe, we need ground beef, about 1.5 pounds. For vegetables, celery, green pepper, and red onion and garlic, either fresh or out of the jar, whichever. We need diced tomatoes, canned tomato sauce, kidney beans, and Heinz deep brown beans. For spices, the main ones are chili powder, coriander seed, oregano, cumin, and then later we sprinkle on cilantro when it's finished, but these are for the main body of the chili. We need beef broth. Ours looks a little different because it's very difficult to find gluten-free beef broth because of the barley content, but we need beef broth, either already liquid or the powder form, whichever you use is fine. And Bullseye is the very best barbecue sauce, but any barbecue sauce that you have, you only need a tablespoon of that. And a lime, honey, and cilantro leaves at the very end when it's all finished cooking. One trick to fast peeling garlic is to pop it in the microwave. About 15 seconds, and that makes it so much easier to peel. Microwaving it makes it a lot softer. It's just a real time saver. 15 seconds for this much garlic. You wouldn't want to go any more than that. It's kind of soft, but see, it just all comes right out of the peeling with no trouble at all. And then you just dice it and throw it right in on the hamburger. Maybe a little smaller, so nobody bites into a great big chunk of garlic. Garlic's so good for you though, good for your immune system. Really, really healthy. Good enough, and remember, cutting a green pepper is a lot easier to separate the seeds if you just go straight down from the top. Then you don't have to mess with a bunch of seeds. You just have this little piece left over, and that's garbage. Knock out the rest of the seeds. How small you cut it's completely up to you. Whatever you like to see in the bowl when it's on your table. Red onion, same thing. I would cut it in half, peel it, and then very easily we put one slice, well, once it gets peeled here, it's supposed to be easy. There we go. That's good. Find the root end right there. Put one slice almost through, but not quite. We're not making a salad. If we were, we would just go with slices maybe. But since it's going in a chili, we dice it. So you go one way and then the other. Almost finished with the green pepper. The red onion is done. And the only other vegetable we have is the celery. Now, when you get celery for this particular recipe, sometimes you can get celery that's just all neat and clean with no leaves, but we want some leaves on this because that's actually part of the recipe, you'll find out later. People don't normally like huge chunks of celery, so I'll cut a rib down the center before I slice it like, well, not lengthwise, but the other way when you chop it. So that way, instead of the 2 ribs, you've got 4 little pieces there, and it just makes it easier to have smaller bites in the bowl. And most people tend to like smaller chunks. While we're waiting for the meat to brown, it's a good time to get the spices ready. What I like to do is to put them in a bowl, measure them out so that you're not measuring each individual spice while the meat is continuing to cook. So we need 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder and So there's one, and I don't go get a half of a tablespoon. I just eyeball it, really. 1½ tablespoons of chili powder, 1½ teaspoons each of cumin or cumin and oregano. And half cumin, and 1½ of oregano, and then 1 teaspoon of coriander. Oh, and of course that doesn't fit, so we have to pour it out and hopefully not overflow. I forgot that it also calls for just a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. If you've never tried Watkins black pepper, it's amazing. You'll never eat another pepper after you try that. Keep stirring. The meat is almost ready now. Our vegetables are diced, ready to be the next step. We'll be cooking the vegetables for 3 to 5 minutes until they soften before we add the spice. The meat is now totally brown, so it's time to add the red onion, green pepper, and celery. Wait till those are completely softened before adding the spice. While we're waiting, stir that around so there's even heat distribution and so that the meat doesn't burn on the bottom. While we're waiting our 3 to 5 minutes for that all to get soft, it's a good time to open the cans, the tomato sauce and the beans. The beans come in this liquid that we don't want included in our chili, so it's a good idea to always rinse and drain the kidney beans. There's always some gunk at the bottom. We want the flavor, we just don't want the liquid. Vegetables look nice and soft. They've been in there about 4 minutes. Now we just add the spices we already had measured and give them a good stir and let that heat through for about a minute. Remember, we're going to use those celery leaves. Well, it called for about 1/4 cup. The celery that I buy usually doesn't have much more than that, so I just pretty much use whatever looks healthy and chop that right up. This is going to go in at the same time as the canned tomato sauce and tomatoes. We don't put the beans in yet. I went ahead and opened the cans, but we don't need those yet. So the next step is to add the tomatoes, tomato sauce, celery leaves together with the beef broth. So 1 cup of beef broth and the 2 cans of tomatoes, the sauce and the diced tomatoes. You see the celery leaves? I just dumped those in on top. Diced tomatoes and tomato sauce. We're to bring that to a boil, which isn't hard at all because it seems to already be there. Let's just mix it in. Make sure that's still boiling. Once it comes to a boil, we then reduce the heat and cover it and simmer it for 20 minutes. So we'll turn it up to bring it to the boil, and then we'll cover it and reduce it to about 3 and stir it occasionally, but we simmer for 20 minutes before we add the beans. That only took about 1 minute to bring to a boil. As you can see, maybe 2.4. You can see that it's bubbling. That's good enough. Don't need it hotter than that. 20 minutes. Got 20 minutes to kill. Good time to clean up. Rinse your cans, get rid of your debris, put stuff away. Everybody likes a clean work area. I'm hungry. It's so hard to wait 20 minutes. Yay! I only put it on 15 minutes, to be honest. Whatever. Add the beans. Heinz deep brown beans. And the kidney beans. Give it a stir. Uh-oh. That's such a... I'm obviously very hungry. Not such an excited stir, just a gentle stir so we don't overflow the pot. We're almost finished. After it is simmered for that last 10 minutes, we take it off the heat and add our finishing touches, which are cilantro, either fresh or bottled variety. I can't grow fresh herbs, they all die, so everything of mine is in the bottle. We are going to cut the lime and have about a tablespoon to 2 of fresh squeezed lime juice and honey. About 2 teaspoons, they say. Buy good honey. Honey's expensive anyway, so buy the local stuff. Local bees will get local pollen to make local honey, which is what is really good for your immune system. So buying prefab honey from the store that comes from who knows where doesn't really help your immune system. Buy the good stuff. It costs money anyway, so you know what? Splurge. I forgot to add the barbecue sauce when I put in the celery leaves and the tomatoes and beans and all that stuff. I'm just going to throw it in at the end. It's no big deal. Tastes great. Just a tablespoon. Cut the lime and just simply hold it over the chili. I don't measure the honey. I just take a look. Put some in, just a little, just to make it sweet. Remember, bullseye barbecue sauce is the best. It just calls for a tablespoon. I already told you I was a little late on that. It should have been in earlier, but it doesn't matter as long as the taste is in there. And every time I've made this chili, people have wanted to know what that extra taste was. They weren't used to it. It was the barbecue sauce and the lime. So don't skip those because that'll make your chili completely different. Hey, it's ready. Enjoy.